Welcome everyone to this lecture by Learn Civil Engineering on the hydrostatic pressure equation and its derivation. Here we will state and derive the differential equations satisfied by the hydrostatic pressure and discuss the important physical implications of these equations. For this series on hydraulic design and fluid mechanics, we are focusing primarily on modelling fluids that are static. We know that there can be no shear stresses present in a static fluid, and so only normal stresses are present. The normal stress distribution in a static fluid is known as the hydrostatic pressure and denoted by P. Pressure has dimensions of m, L to the minus 1, T to the minus 2, with SI units of kilograms per meter per second squared, or newtons per meter squared, or pascals. The pressure at a point in a fluid is defined as P equals rho g h, where rho is the density of the fluid at the point, g is the gravitational acceleration, and h is the depth of the point in the fluid. So that is the hydrostatic pressure equation for a given point in a fluid. But now let's derive it along with the differential equations that the hydrostatic pressure distribution must satisfy. In this video, we will derive the equation for the case of a homogeneous fluid, or in other words, the density is uniform across the entire volume of the fluid. Consider a large body of static fluid of a constant density relative to the coordinate directions x, y, and z, with z directly vertically upwards and x and y in the horizontal directions. Consider a small element of fluid with its centre positioned at some point x, y, z within the fluid. The element has volume of delta V, which is equal to delta x times delta y times delta z, where delta x, delta y, and delta z denote the dimensions of the element in the x, y, and z directions as shown here. Note that the small element delta V contains and is completely surrounded by fluid of constant density. The entire fluid is static, and so the forces acting on the fluid element, delta V, must be in static equilibrium. The forces acting on delta V are 1. The fluid element's weight, which is a volume force, and 2. The forces that act on each surface of the element delta V that arise due to the fluid's stress distribution, which are surface forces. As stated at the beginning, the fluid is static, and so there can be no shear stresses acting on the fluid element. Hence, the surface forces that act on delta V are purely due to the normal stress distribution. We can now resolve the forces that are acting on delta V in each of the coordinate directions and apply the principle of equilibrium. Considering the forces acting on delta V in the vertical z direction, we have the weight of the fluid element rho delta V g acting downwards, the force acting on the top surface of the fluid element, which is equal to the pressure with respect to the coordinate x, y, z plus half delta z, times by the area of the surface delta x delta y, as force is equal to stress times area, and finally the force acting on the bottom surface of the fluid element, which is equal to the pressure with respect to the coordinate x, y, z minus half delta z times by delta x delta y. Taking forces acting upwards as positive, applying equilibrium gives the force acting on the bottom surface minus the force acting on the top surface minus the weight of the fluid element equals 0. Rearranging for the weight of the fluid element and then dividing by delta V, or in other words, dividing by delta x, delta y, delta z, we get that the pressure with respect to the coordinate x, y, z plus half delta z, minus the pressure with respect to the coordinate x, y, z minus half delta z, all divided by delta z, is equal to negative rho g. Then, taking the limit as delta V tends to 0, or in other words, reducing the volume delta V to the point x, y, z, gives the partial derivative of P divided by the partial derivative of z equals minus rho g. Note that this equation is valid at the point x, y, z, and since x, y, z is any point within the fluid, the equation must be valid at all points within the fluid. Now, considering the forces acting on delta V in the horizontal x direction, we have the force acting on the left side of the fluid element, which is equal to the pressure with respect to the coordinate x minus half delta x, y, z, times by the area of the surface, delta y, delta z, and then the force acting on the right side of the fluid element, which is equal to the pressure with respect to the coordinate x plus half delta x, y, z, times by delta y, delta z. Taking forces acting to the right as positive, applying equilibrium gives the force acting on the left side of the fluid element minus the force acting on the right side equals 0. Again, dividing this equation by delta V, we get that the pressure with respect to the coordinate x plus half delta x, y, z, minus the pressure with respect to the coordinate x minus half delta x, y, z, all divided by delta x, is equal to 0. Then, taking the limit as delta V tends to 0, gives the partial derivative of p divided by the partial derivative of x is equal to 0. And it is straightforward to see that applying the same principle in the horizontal y direction gives the partial derivative of p divided by the partial derivative of y is equal to 0. Similarly to the equation before, the limit of delta V tending to 0 simply means that these two equations are also valid at all points within the fluid. Therefore, the fluid's hydrostatic pressure distribution, P, must satisfy these three differential equations. It follows from these equations that the hydrostatic pressure, P, varies only in the vertical direction. Therefore, we can replace them with dP over dz is equal to minus rho g. Or in other words, we can define the hydrostatic pressure as P equals minus rho gz. Here we have defined pressure in terms of z, the vertical height of the fluid element. But in certain applications, it is more useful to have the pressure written in terms of h, the vertical depth. Note that this is how we defined pressure at the start of this video. That is, h and z are related by h equals h0 minus z, where h0 is an arbitrary reference height. Therefore, the previous equation can be written in terms of h as P equals rho gh. This has been a lecture by Learn Civil Engineering. If you have found this lecture useful at all, please show support by subscribing to the channel and leaving a like on the video. If you do have any remaining questions or would like me to cover a specific topic, please leave them in the comment section below and I will try to respond as soon as possible. Thank you for watching.